Goddess. 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 Oh, goddess. Oh, goddess. Goddess after dark. Goddess after dark. Goddess out. Goddess out. Goddess out. Goddess after.
Yeah. Summon the shadows. Awaken, O three divine mothers of the night.
Goddess out. Goddess out. Goddess out. Goddess out. Goddess out.
Back, mystics. You are now entering Goddess After Dark. I am the Goddess Mystic Light.
I am the Goddess Southern.
And I am the Goddess Indigo. And we are Goddess After Dark.
Yes, Goddess After Dark. Well, we don't just speak about spirituality, we embody it. We don't just learn energy, we become aware of it. And before we step into tonight's transmission, I want to honor the journey we've already walked together, because nothing we speak here is random. Everything builds, everything deepens, everything awakens. In our previous episodes, we've opened the gateways. We spoke about the root chakra and what it means to feel safe in your body, to be grounded in your existence, to stop surviving and start stabilizing. Then we moved into the sacral chakra, where we exposed your creativity, your sensuality, your emotions, your emotional waters, and the sacred permission to feel again without shame. We ignited the solar plex, your inner fire, your identity, your confidence, and the breaking of internal change that taught you to shrink, like shrink small. We softened into the heart chakra, where we learned that love is not possession, not performance, not sacrifice, but balance, truth, and divine exchange. We opened the throat chakra, the voice of authentic. I don't know why I can't speak right now. Authenticity, expression, and boundaries spoken aloud, and truth no longer swallowed for comfort. And we expanded into the crown chakra, the remembrance that you are not separate from divine intelligence. You are connected to something far beyond limitations, fear, and ego noise. And now we have arrived at a deeper threshold. Because once a mystic begins to awaken their energy centers, once they begin to feel more, see more, sense more, there comes a moment where awareness becomes responsibility. And that responsibility is this: what you do, what do you allow in your field, and what are you unconsciously calling normal?
Hey, Ashe. All right, family, mystics. I want to lead us into an invocation. I'm over here fighting with my light. Still got my caramel skin going on. All right. So I'm going to start with this invocation with a nice deep breath. Take it in, close your eyes, reminisce, and just let it all loose. And as I speak, just take a moment of silence and breathe deep. Beloved divine mystics, source of all that is, ancestors of light, guardians of wisdom, and the sacred power that dwells within. Okay, we enter a space fully present. We call upon all the fragments of our energy home. We call our attention back from the past. We call our power back from fear. We call our voices back from silence. We call our light back from every place it has been scattered. In this moment, we stand in remembrance of whom we are, keepers of our energy, stewards of our minds, guardians of our bodies, authoritarians, of our spirit. Many, all energies that do not belong to us be lovingly released and overthoughts be aligned. Okay? May all illusions fall away and our emotions be balanced. May all cords of limitations dissolve and our actions be intentional. And may all false narratives lose their hold and our spirits remain free. We choose clarity over confusion. We choose truth over distortion. We choose presence over distraction and sovereignty over surrendering our power. As we breathe, we anchor ourselves into the wisdom of our own being. Tonight, we reclaim our space, our voice, our energy, and our power. We stand rooted in truth, anchored in purpose, illuminated by the light within. I am sovereign. I am whole. I am free. Let's say that together and feel that truly deeply. I am sovereign.
I am sovereign.
I am whole.
I am whole.
I am free.
I am.
So mo it be, and it is so. Ashe, Ashe, Aduwa, Amen Ra. All right, I'm gonna pass it back to you, Sister Misty. Thank you for the triangle there. Thank you. Thank you.
So tonight's transmission is titled Energetic Sovereignty. And we are stepping into a conversation that is often felt before it is understood. So I think that first slide.
Right? Here we go, Goddess. Get you going.
So we are speaking on energetic sovereignty, reclaim, protect, radiate. So welcome, Mystics. Welcome to Goddess After Dark again. We want to talk about the things they don't see in the light. Tonight we're stepping into a sacred truth. Your energy is precious, your power is yours, and your sovereignty is yours. It's non-negotiable. So we're speaking on energetic vampirism, not as fear, not as a paranoia, not as projection, but as awareness. Because when you begin to rise in frequency, you begin to notice something very real. Not everything that has access to you deserves your energy. So we're talking about energetic vampirism. Now, the energetic vampirism is the act of draining, depleting, or filling off someone else's energy consciously and unconsciously. It can happen through manipulation, constant negativity, drama, and chaos, guilt, shame, or obligations, invasions of your boundaries. They take you, you shrink, and your light dims. But not anymore. Not anymore. And so before we go deeper tonight, I want you to breathe in for a moment because this episode is not making you guarded. It's about making you clear. Not closed, but conscious. Not defensive, but discerning. This is where the goddess within you begins to mature, where she no longer confuses guilt with love, where she no longer confuses access with intimacy, where she no longer confuses depletion with devotion. So you might be experiencing it. You feel drained after certain conversations or interactions. You over explain, overgive, or people please. You feel guilty for seeing boundaries. You attract chaos or emotionally unavailable people. You feel disconnected from yourself and your purpose. See, your body always tells you the truth, so you have to listen to it. Now, types of energy vampires. The drama king or queen. They live in chaos and pulls you right on in. You also have the victim, always needs saving and never takes responsibility. Then you got the critic, feeds off your insecurity and specializes in tearing you down. You also have the controller. They need power over you to feel powerful. The taker takes without giving ever. These are definitely energetic vampires. So stop auditing for their dysfunctions. And so this is how they drain you. They'll drain you through their words that plant doubt, through guilt and manipulation, through emotional chaos, through overstepping your boundaries, through spiritual attacks. Yes, that is real. Not every energy around you deserves access to you. So, I can't see that. Know your power. And your power is knowing yourself. The more rooted you are, the less you can be pulled. Set and honor boundaries. No, it is a full sentence. Cleanse your energy regularly. Bath, smoke, sound, prayer, whatever works for you. But guard your space. What and who you allow in everything. Surround yourself with light. Choose peace. Choose elevation. You are not hard to love. You're just not for everyone. Now, mystics, your energy is sacred. So you stop giving it away to people who don't deserve the keys. Reclaim your light, protect your peace, walk in your energetic sovereignty. You are the source. Never forget that. Never forget that. So I have given you the clues to know when you're dealing with energetic vampirism. These energies deplete you. And so once you become aware of that, you have to transition yourself into a higher space and not allow that energy to become your energy. And so being aware of it really allows you to evolve and not become stuck or be that vampirism, that vampire, if I must say.
Hey,
So
Sister Mystic,
yes.
I had a question. You know how you said unconsciously vampirism. Is there an example of an unconscious vampirism? Like someone don't consciously know that they're being a vampire? Because I've had that happen before, and they don't realize that. They don't realize that. Is there like an example of that?
Yes, that is. Because you have some people who are not aware of that they are the one who is draining the energy. Because some one example is someone who always complains, who never has anything positive, uplifting, or to say. They're always coming with some type of drama, but they may be feeling like, hey, I'm just sharing with you so you can know, and I'm wanting to get this off my chest. But in reality, if that's more than likely all that they always come to you about, It's always a chaotic situation. It's never, I'm gonna say, flowerful. It's never beautiful. It's always chaotic, dramatified. And then once you get through talking to them, you're depleted, you're tired, or
Yeah.
you're angry, or you upset. And it's all because you took the time to allow vampire to drain you of your energy by listening, by taking your time to listen to the chaos or the drama. And now you're depleted. You're overwhelmed because they have now put that all in your energy field. So
Mm-hmm.
that's an example of an energy vampire, just chaotic. So we
Yeah.
have to definitely be aware of that. And that's on the job, that's at work, that's in your home, in your family. We have those family members that they never have anything good to say. You could be at a family engagement. It can be something as sad as a funeral. And you still got those vampires that be like, yep, we already knew he wasn't shit anyway. Well, what about there's some other people, he might not be shit to you. But now you want to get everybody on your team, so that's an energy vampire. They're siphoning energy to build their energy field.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that example, sis.
And I guess I just had a funeral, so something that took place. So I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah. I understand,
this
sis.
is not the place to be chaotic. You want it to be about you, so you're gonna start some chaos. So yeah, that's vampirism right there. Just draining, just taking whatever energy they can cipher.
Yes. Yes. And you got to know how to cleanse that
Yeah,
energy. You got to know how to cleanse that auric field. So that'll be the next thing that we'll be talking about next with the goddess Southern. I think
Oh,
goddess Sister Indigo was talking as well.
no, I was just agreeing. I was agreeing with everything.
Okay, okay. Just wanted to make sure because your mic was off, and I was like, "Sis, we can't hear you, sis."
Didn't realize my mic was off. But
Okay.
we
And
talk
don't we
about
all look radiant in our melanin? Okay, don't we all look radiant in our melanin right now? Okay, melanin is popping all on this screen. Okay.
it sure is beautiful, guys.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything you had to say, Sister Indigo? I thought you was getting ready to say something. All right. Well, I got my slide up.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna put you on the stage, right?
Yeah, I'm up here, sis. There we go. There we is. Okay, y'all. So as Sister Misty like mentioned, that vampirism, they everywhere. They out here like roaches, okay? Out here like roaches. But you got to know how to cleanse that auric field, okay? So let's dive deep into that. Okay.
Okay. You go
Okay.
full screen. Okay, there you go. All right.
All right, okay. So we're going to talk about aura cleansing. For this one, I really wanted to give some color to that, because there are many different levels of our bodies. Did you know that? Okay. What is an aura? It's a Greek word, yupa. It actually means breeze, breath of air, or gentle wind, originally referred to as an invisible current through space, a subtle energy field surrounding living things. So every living thing has an aura. Your cat, your dog, even the plants outside, everything has that auric field representing the unseen yet perceivable essence of an individual. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Energy sources. Okay, so these are your energy sources for the aura. Excuse me, let me rephrase that. The aura energy sources. Okay, this is where your aura is. Where is this energy from the auras radiating from? And we talked about the 7 main chakras. There are many chakras, but we talked about the 7 main ones on our last few episodes. And again, your aura energy sources is from the 7 main energy centers. Each field is fueled and empowered by a specific aura layer. So your root center is your etheric level, which remains close to the body, okay, extends an inch or two away from the body, reflects your physical health, and can change shade based off your physical health. How well are you taking care of your root center? Based off the brightness and dullness of this center. And it's like that for, you'll definitely see for the lower chakras. So any chakras really, but make sure you pay attention to the brightness of your auras as well. You can actually feel it, but let's not go too far. Let's go to the next level, which is our emotional level. We talk about the sacral. This is influenced by our emotions and our feelings. It's 3 inches from the body. So imagine you standing up and you have your first layer around you, which is your etheric, and it's just going around you. Then the next layer is around that layer, okay? Looking like a human egg in a cocoon, if you want to say. Okay, so again, based off the wellness of your emotions, holding negative emotions, are you releasing it? How do you express your emotions? If it's not that great and you holding in your emotions and you're not allowing yourself to flow, of course it's going to be dull, it's going to be dark. But if you're expressing your emotions in the most balanced way for you, everyone is made up differently based off of your charts. Your aura in that area will be bright. Okay, the next one is the mental level. This is where the solar plex will be, extend from 3 to 8 inches depending on your mental state, and it can be dull or bright as well depending on your health in that center. Your fourth one is where the sacred gateway is. Okay, your astral level extends about a foot away from the body. Its brightness correlates with the spiritual health higher frequencies than the physical plane. So the brightness is based off of your spiritual health, is what that is saying. Okay, your etheric temple will be where your throat center is. Okay, so this extends 2 feet from the body and represents personality and identity. Your celestial level is your third eye. This is the third eye level. Okay, this would be extends from 2.5 feet from the body. Intuition and perception are the focus here. Your last one is let me see if I can pronounce this correctly. Ketheric level. Y'all get what I'm saying? It's right there on the screen. Okay, extend 3 feet from the body and contains all the other layers. Okay, so it's basically housing all the other layers and all connected to all that exists. So these are the different layers, the different fields as to how your aura energy sources is layered and where it's sourcing from. Sourcing. Okay. Why is it important for you to clear your aura? Why is it important to cleanse it? Okay. It releases stagnant energy, like Sister was saying, restores energetic flow, strengthens your spiritual awakeness, improves emotional clarity, support your chakra balance, and creates greater energetic harmony. Okay. Have you ever been around someone, because we can bump into each other's energetic field and you can kind of feel somebody off a little bit. They don't really say it, but you can just feel that it's something there, and 9 times out of 10 they'll wear it on their face sometimes. And have you ever experienced that? Have you ever smelt it too? You can also smell it as well. I haven't example, when I was working at a job, I did have a coworker. I could smell her guilt on her. I didn't know what it was at first, but it was a very dingy type, mildewy trash can type smell. And I remember the state she was, how she was very sweaty. She looked very panicky. So I was like feeling that as well as smelling that as well. So have you guys, sisters, have you ever experienced any of that where you feel the somebody's auric field or you can smell their auric field?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, I definitely have.
I can smell it and see it.
You can
All of those things.
see
Definitely.
it, feel
Yeah.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
It's not a pleasant smell, by the way.
Yeah,
So
it has like a stench.
it is not a pleasant smell. So that's a definite thing. So let's get into methods of aura cleansing. You can cleanse your aura through a few methods, water, breath, sound. I'm just going to go over the bullets real quick and then we're going to run it back because I've done majority of these practices really. Light visualization, movement in yoga, nature, fire, salt, egg cleanse. I don't know if anyone knows about the egg cleanse. I'm sure these goddesses do. Prayer and intention, energy healing, and sacred oils. Now, for the water, I like to take my spiritual bath salts. I make my own bath salts, but this is where you can add your bath salts in here and your herbs. Sometimes I think shout out to Bobby Hemmett. He had a nice recipe to help cleanse the aura. I can't remember the ingredients, his stars, but and mystics. But if you've seen that recording where he was talking about it, it was some good intel on how to help cleanse the aura and purify and magnetize that power.
Goddess, we got to
Yeah.
get a recipe. We gonna tell them.
Huh?
We gotta give them the recipe if we gonna tell them.
Yeah, I can't remember, sister. That's why I said I couldn't remember. I remember bleach, and I couldn't remember the other
Yes,
ingredient.
1 cup of everything, y'all. So write this down so you can have the knowledge for it. So it's gonna be 1 cup of bleach, 1 cup of uh, peroxide,
Mm-hmm.
1 cup of white vinegar, um, lemon juice. So you're gonna use you can use a cup full of lemon juice. Probably what's that, a whole lemon or something.
Mm-hmm.
And a tablespoon of baking soda.
Okay. I knew that. I said sis stars. So I do sis star had it. Thank you, sis.
It's all right. I got you. I
Oh,
got you.
okay. And I wrote that down for myself, but I knew it was a recipe he had. I also done one where I was in the shower, and this is where I did like a light visualization in the shower. I envisioned the water, having like white light coming down, and as the white light coming down, it's just slowly cleansing off, the gunk from my crown to my feet. So I'm just visualizing, what no longer serves. Most people say black gunk or smoke or however you want to think of it. Just imagine it all just flowing down and coming off in the drain, and you have like an incantation or affirmation you would like to say to help the flow of that as well. Breath work, I love to do the breath work as well, where you just take a deep breath in, doing the same thing, cleansing from deep within outward, bringing in that white light and breathing out that gunky, cluttered debris that's been clogged up in your system. We talked about sound healing. Have you ever got in your living room, your speaker, turn on some beautiful sound healing or get your sound bowl, whatever you got, use what you got, turn it on. Turn the frequency on that resonates with you in that moment and allow your body to just feel the frequency of it and let that energy just flow out and just heal the body. Of course, we talk about movement and yoga. moving the body in general, just shaking it out, shaking it like a salt shaker, like the Yin Yang twins said. They weren't saying that for no reason. Shake it like a salt shaker. What does the salt do when it come out the shaker? It come out. So shake that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Nature is something that I love to actually do aura cleansing into as well, because I have so much heavy earth in my chart. Is the moment when I step into the grass, I can just feel the earth just pulling all the stress or anxiety that I once had before, any emotional, healing that's needed, because that's current now, pulling all of that out and allowing myself to recenter and reset. Of course, fire, we talked about waving sage around. Did we talk about that? No, we didn't. So that's a good one. Sage or Palo Santo stick, light it up, get the smoke, move it all around, flow it all around on your body, take it in, inhale it. Bath salts, we mentioned bath salts, the egg cleanse. I know you get a egg and you get a glass of water. Okay. You want a glass of water because you need to actually see the egg when you go in there. But the egg cleanse, you take the egg, don't boil it, just a raw egg, and you just rub it all over your centers, however long you feel called to, and you keep rubbing it. You have a light incantation, like I said, an affirmation that helps you feel more cleansed with your aura. And whatever it is, just allow it to cleanse it off you, okay? And then you crack the egg and drop the yolk in there, and you're supposed to read the yolk inside of it. So that's another way to do an aura cleanse. Prayer and intention, we talk about affirmations and everything. Energy healing, a Reiki, acupuncture. I even like massages. It clears my energy. Hell, they hit the right spot, an energy center gonna move and something gonna come out. That's all I'm saying. It need to be clear. Okay, you got sacred oils that helps too as well. I love to use lavender and sometimes peppermint for me. Everybody's preference is different. What about you, sis stars? What preference as far as sacred oils that you use to cleanse your energy? Sis stars, y'all there?
Yeah, I'm here. I like basil oil as
Mm.
well as I got it on my bedside. I lost my train of thought. Let me grab it.
Oh, you good, sis star? You good?
And I one of the oils I use is that Lang Lang and
Ooh, that shit smells so good, sis. Oh my God.
mhm, and eucalyptus.
Yes.
Those are that
It's
has been,
hyssop.
Oh, okay. Here's some.
Hyssop is a good cleansing oil, and I had it by my bedside because also if you put a few drops on your pillow, it enhances your astral travel
Mm.
abilities. Okay.
Ashe, Ashe. I hope y'all wrote that down. Hope y'all wrote that down. Okay, so here's some journal prompts and activations. Okay, journal prompts. Who or what constantly leaves me feeling depleted? What is my aura trying to communicate to me right now? Listen to your body. Where do you feel your aura is making the most noise for your attention? Okay. How can I nourish and strengthen my energetic field? And which or what practices help me feel most spiritually connected? You may come up with a practice that nobody else have, but it's your practice. Which one from the last slide, or if you have one that wasn't on the slide, which one is more a compatible, or would I say a more stronger method for you to use to cleanse your aura? Okay. What would be a vibrant, balanced aura feel like? No, let me rephrase that. What would a vibrant, balanced aura be like in my mind and body? Basically, what do you visualize your balanced and vibrant aura to look like? What does that look like when it's balanced, when it's vibrant, when you're feeling your most healthiest? Okay. Activations. My energy flows freely through every center of my being. I am a radiant vessel of peace, power, and harmony. As you've answered these questions to yourself, whatever method you choose to cleanse your aura, allow yourself to sit there for a moment, incite your incantations 5 times, and allow yourself to breathe deep and have that moment to self so you can cleanse yourself, so you can re-energize yourself. There was no goddesses that called to me for this segment. However, what did call to me was for you to go look in the mirror and look at the goddess that's staring back at you, because that's the goddess that's calling you for this attention here. Go look at yourself in the mirror, have a conversation with self, and allow yourself to speak. Listen to your body, allow your auras to tell you what's depleted, what's not, and what's imbalanced. And here's a few books on auras as well. I forgot to write one book up here. I don't know if it's up here or not. I didn't write it down. But these are a few references here. Okay, auras, how to see, feel, and know. This complete book of psychic empowerment. It's a big, like, encyclopedia type size book, but it's got many different things as far as chakras and seeing auras and your clairaudience. It has everything in it, but it does have a section for the auras. Very informative books and have some very informative practices. I would say the one that I like the most far as getting deep knowledges on the different layers is A Little Bit of Auras. That's a good one. And pair it with the auras to see, heal, and know. See, feel, and know book. That one is good. And Auras over here by Paul is also good as well. But my main three I would, highly recommend is the A Little Bit of Auras, as well as Auras at the top here. And check out their psychic book as well. So Aura Cleanse Practical Exercise. I was just going to get a smudging stick here with my Palo Santo stick here. And we was just going to wave it around. Wave it all around you. Wave it on the palms of your hands and your feet. And at this moment, you just take a few moments to breathe deep. Just have a moment with self, breathe deep, and just sit with self. You can do that with yourself at home, or we can do this now, sister, however you want to do. But I just wanted to put out there, just have that moment of quiet time, silence time. Take you a stick. I have a Palo Santos here. If you have sage, you can utilize it. And basically what I'm doing is I'm going to just smoke it up, wave it around myself, basically. Just giving you a good demonstration. I don't go this fast, but it's definitely good to take your time, really feel it, breathe in the fumes, the smoke and everything. Allow yourself to feel it deeply within your root center, all the way up to your crown. Have that moment of silence with self, 3 to 5 minutes. If you need it a little longer, allow yourself that, but sit with self, utilize the journal prompts. And I want to end my segment here and allow my sister Indigo to make her grand entrance. Okay. Sister, you on mute?
I almost forgot again.
It's
I
okay.
forgot again. Okay. Okay. And I was teasing you talking about the grand entrance. Okay. Got a little French twang on there, So, hey, peace, mystics. Y'all ready? We're going to go ahead and get into these energetic cords. How many of y'all are aware of energetic cords? How many of y'all know that you're attached to someone and can't figure out, why? Well, let's talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Some energetic cord. So the invisible architect of connection, right? This is going to be the etheric body. So before we explore any energetic cords in itself, we have to begin with something even more fundamental. The field, or the energetic field that surrounds us. Because every connection exists within a structure, right? Every exchange requires a pathway. Even every energetic relationship emerges from a living architect that most people never realize is even there. And throughout the esoteric traditions, the architect has often been referred to as the energetic body. So you would hear that term over and over again, and you might have heard that, online and didn't quite have a real understanding of what the energetic body is in itself. A lot of people tend to spend their lives learning about the physical body, right? Usually, of course, before now, that's really all that you're taught. You're only taught and focused upon, and I'm going to use the word programmed upon the physical body in the physical form, and not understanding there's more to you than meets the eye, right? We learn how to nourish the physical body. We've even learned things how to protect it, how to strengthen it, heal it. Yet very few up until now are ever taught to consider the energetic aspect of their existence. At least definitely in the Western world, okay? I don't want to speak for others in a whole in that aspect, but you get what I'm saying. But that part of themselves that cannot be weighed, this part of yourself that can't be measured or placed beneath a microscope, and yet somehow still influence how we move through the world, right? Think about those moments that seem impossible to explain logically that happen around you. Walking into a room and immediately sensing tension is there. The air is thick. Feeling drained towards someone you've just met. And Goddess Mystic Light talked about this in the energetic vampirism, right? Knowing something is wrong before even words are even spoken, or feeling completely energized after one conversation and emotionally exhausted after another, which was so beautifully explained. However, this is all captured in your energetic body, right? Experiences like these existed across cultures, traditions, and generations. Different systems have gave them different names throughout times, of course. So sometimes that's how also a knowledge is. I wouldn't really say lost. It's just misunderstood. Okay. Because of different naming and things of that sort. That's why it is crucial to study further, right? And then once you do that, you'll find the further back you go, you'll find the singularity of things, right? So, but many pointed toward the same understanding, as I was just explaining. There is more occurring beneath the surface than what is physically visible. The energetic body itself can be understood as the energetic counterpart of the physical form, right? It's not separate from it, not floating somewhere outside of it, but interwoven with it. A living energetic framework through which vitality, awareness, emotions, and interactions are exposed, right? Expressed, not exposed. It could be exposed, but expressed. I don't know why I said that, but it may be meaning to that. But we'll move on. In many ways, the energetic system in itself is like the antennas that you see like on insects. What they're doing is feeling their environment around them. They are feeling the vibrations and the frequencies around them, right? So in many esoteric systems, the energetic body is viewed as a bridge between the seen and the unseen, the subtle and the tangible, the energetic and the material. It is the medium through which experiences become relationships, you know. And relationships is an important word here because nothing within us, let me get what I want to say to y'all, because why this is so important with the relationship in itself. Nothing within us discusses the existence in isolation, right? I just explained how the energetic body is paired with the physical body, right? That's going to bring a dualistic aspect to it. It's two, right? So that's why relationship is so important. That word, not meaning just a love relationships. There were many relationships. If you break the word down, relate, okay, and then ship, which moves on a current. So that's your energy. It's something relating together, right? So, but not energy, not consciousness, not human beings, right? Every day we are interacting with people, environments, memories, even our emotions. We interact with technology, media, and countless streams of influence outside of us, right? Some of it nourishes us. Some of it even challenges us. Some it inspires us. And some of it definitely depletes us. I think more than some is meant to deplete, But whether we recognize it or not, these exchanges leave impressions within our energetic field. The divine feminine has long understood something that modern culture tends to overlook. That sensitivity is a form of intelligence in actuality, Awareness is a form of intelligence, right? And intuition is a form of intelligence. The ability to perceive subtle moments within an energetic landscape is never weakness. It is perception. The challenge is not learning how to become connected to that.
I need to say that again, sis.
Right? The challenge is learning how not to become connected or attached to those energetic landscapes. Right? You already are. The challenge is becoming conscious of the connections that already exist. That's also a challenge, you know? Learning to recognize what influences your field in itself. We should learn to understand what strengthens our energetic field. Also, learn to understand, absolutely, not also, this is a key point, learn to understand what disrupts it. And learning to understand what remains long after the interaction has ended. That goes hand in hand with that attachment, right? It's the lack of recognizing that need to go. You know what I'm saying? You gotta let that shit go.
Mm-hmm.
Because every meaningful exchange creates movements. And movement is energy. Let's kind of double back a little bit. Emotion. What is emotion? The E is for energy. It's energy in motion.
Come on now.
That's what
Float on, baby. Float on.
Every repeated interaction creates an influence, right? Some type of impression upon you. And every influence leaves a trace. So over time, some of those traces become patterns. Yikes. Some become habits. Ooh. And then some become attachments. Ouch. And then they create what is called energetic cords. So the energetic body is more than an abstract type of spiritual concept in itself. It is the foundation of energetic relationship. And I did break down what relationship is in itself. The invisible architect through the connection, that's where it becomes possible. And before we can understand the ties that bind us, we must first understand the field in which those ties are formed. So let's go into how energetic cords are formed in itself, right? I done already told you what they are. So let's the energy follows. It follows the attention, right? Emotional exchange, resonance, relationships, energetic input. So now we know what that energetic cords are, and the energetic body is, the energetic cords are not always created in one dramatic moment. Did you know that? I know you hear people talk about, oh, we got to cut these cords. This cord didn't happen. This cord didn't happen. And, this cord happened here. It happened there, but it wasn't something that was instantaneous, right? So let's go down through there. Many times they are formed through repetition, attention, like emotional exchange. They're even formed through intimacy and memory. They're often formed through the places where our energy keeps returning to. Because energy follows the attention. That's where your attention is, right? What they say, where your attention goes, the energy flows. That's a cute little saying that was made up for that. But it's so true. It's so true. Not to downplay that saying. It's cute and arithmetic. You can remember that. Maybe chant that to yourself. It can become a mantra so you can understand that that's what's happening. Refocus your attention on that. Okay. But where your mind goes, your energy begins to gather. It's like a magnetic point. Where your emotions linger, the field begins to respond in itself. And where your spirit repeatedly invests itself, a pathway can begin to form. A cord can form between lovers, between a parent and child, between friends, between teacher and student, between healer and client, and also between you and an old wound. And don't forget, it can form between you and someone who is no longer physically present, but still emotionally active within your field. Those of us that are holding on to grief, right? And this is important. A cord does not automatically mean something evil. Please know that. That does not mean that. A cord means there is an energetic exchange that is connected, right? So the question becomes to yourself is this exchange nourishing me? These are the questions you should ask. Is this exchange teaching me? Is this exchange draining me? Is this exchange keeping me bound to a version of myself I am outgrowing? Those are a few questions you want to ask yourself, because not all cords were created through love, Some were created through obsession, obsessing over something. Some were created through trauma, and some are created through guilt. Some through repeated access to your emotional body. This is when you allow those people. When I say those people, these are people outside of you that are draining you, or like Mystic Light said, Goddess Mystic Light, with energetic vampires. But you allowing that though. Okay. But they have repeated access to you. So your energy is repeatedly attacked, And some cords are formed through simply because we keep feeding them with our attention. It's really not even a real bond, but it pays rent in your head, or lives in your head rent free. I said the saying wrong, but there you are. It lives in your head rent free. Okay, that's right. So okay, now you get what I'm saying. All right.
I love it.
This is why energetic sovereignty requires awareness. You can't reclaim your power from a connection you refuse to examine. You understand me? Being sovereign, you can't reclaim your power if you have connections you refuse to examine.
It's going to be a good clip.
You cannot release what you keep secretly feeding. You cannot call yourself sovereign by allowing old attachments to govern your energy and soul. So when we speak about energetic cords, we are not just speaking about other people. We are speaking about energetic agreements, the seen and unseen, remember, the conscious and the unconscious, the chosen and the inherited. Because every meaningful exchange leaves a trace. And over time, those traces can become ties, closing line, ties that close in. Right? So energetic cores are formed whenever energy, attention, emotions, and repetition meet. And once we understand how they form, we can begin to discern which cords are sacred bonds and which cords have become chains. Because not every cord is meant to be cut, right? You have those sacred bonds. So now that we know of how energetic cords are formed, let's arrive at a deeper question, right? If cords are a natural part of your energetic exchange, you might ask yourself, well then, are all cords unhealthy? Are all cords meant to be severed? Or is there a difference between a cord that nourishes us or a cord that depletes us, right? And I do see out here in the spiritual streets, that's what I like to call them. I don't do the community thing, but the spiritual streets is the assumption that every energetic cord is a problem. Because I rarely hear people talk about the sacred bond cords. I mean, it may be talked about in a different way, but when you put it that way, you must, because you have to be mindful when you're out here doing cord cutting ceremonies and rituals and energetically within you cutting cords. It's important to recognize which cords you're cutting. That very connection is an attachment, right? Having that assumption, that's an attachment. And there's also an assumption that every attachment is a burden and that every burden must be cut away. But life is rarely that simple. From an esoteric type of perspective or occult perspective, cords are neither inherited positive nor inherently positive, right? Or inherently negative. Apologize. They simply represent connection. The true question is, what is the nature of this connection? What is flowing through it? What is being exchanged? Or even what is being strained? Some cords are formed through love, some through responsibility, some through devotion or lineage, and some for a shared purpose. And these connections can become sources of strength or wisdom and knowledge. Think about the bond between a mother and a child, or the connection between a student and a trusted teacher, or the relationship between an elder and their community, and even the connection between people and their ancestors. These are examples of cords that may provide guidance, support, wisdom, and continuity. or continued unity. That's on one of them other words. Okay, I ain't gonna get off into that. I was gonna go down a whole nother rabbit hole, but we're gonna stay on topic. In many ancestral traditions, connections was not viewed as weakness. Never. Mm-mm. Connections was understood as part of life. A reminder that we do not exist in isolation, that we belong to something larger than ourselves, that wisdom, our culture, memory, and healing are always often passed down through relationship, right? These are what I call sacred bonds. Connection that supports growth. Sacred bonds are connection that encourage evolution. It connects that help that becomes more than who we are. Connects us with help that's more than who we are, right? Not less. But just as there are cords that nourish, there are also cords that drain, right? Some connections become rooted in dependency. Some become rooted in fear. Others rooted in control. And some survive long after their purpose has been fulfilled. And rather than supporting our growth, they begin to consume our energy. You may find yourself constantly, and thinking about someone who is no longer present in your life, right? Replaying conversations, reliving old wounds, carrying emotional weight that no longer belongs to your present reality. Then you may feel responsible for fixing everyone around you, right? Carrying the burdens that were never yours to carry. You know, you even pour energy into people who continuously take but never replenish you. These are often signs that a cord has shifted from connected into entanglement. It went from nourishment to depletion, you know. It went from relationship to attachment. And this is where discernment becomes the most important spiritual tool you can develop. Because discernment asks, hey, is this connection helping me to evolve? Or even ask yourself when you're in discernment, you know, is this keeping me stuck? You know? The goal is not to disconnect from life. The goal is not to become emotionally unavailable. No. The goal is not to cut every single cord. The goal is to become more conscious of what each connection is producing within your life. As I explained, a healthy cord should support your growth, but know that a draining cord often demands your energy while giving very little in return. Know the difference. A healthy cord expands your awareness. A draining cord that narrows your world. Makes you feel constricted, right? A healthy cord reminds you who you are. And a draining cord often keeps you attached to who you used to be. And from a divine feminine perspective, this awareness becomes even more important, right? Because many of us divine feminine women, goddesses, have been conditioned to overextend ourselves, to give endlessly, to nourish endlessly, not effortlessly, endlessly, and to carry emotional responsibilities that were never ours to carry. But a true divine feminine wisdom understands the difference between comparison and self-sacrifice. We understand the difference between connection and attachment. You know, we understand the difference between love and depletion. Not every cord, I did start with not every cord is meant to be cut, but it's important to discern which cords need to be cut. So before I move on, because there's more to what's draining you that's so important that we must recognize and we're not paying attention to, right? Let's go deeper into the entanglements where it gets entangled, right? When you're overthinking, obsessing, regret, the what ifs, the memories, the repeated cycles, you know, holding on to things that are clearly not interested in being there. It causes you to have emotional leakage, right? Energy, depleting it, right? Causing shadow knots and heavy hearts. A draining cord demands your energy while it'll never give it in return. It will never give it in return. So the more that we're dependent upon things, it has control of us. When we obsess over things or have excessive guilt, it's going to manipulate us. When we have unresolved emotions, you know, all of those things are depleting your energy. So those are things we want to absolutely look at and remove those cords. Let's talk briefly about today's world. I mean, even though we're talking about today's time right now, but let's take it a little bit more. Let's allow it to hit home a little bit more, you know? The money pressure, bills, your status quota, keeping up with the Joneses, as they used to call it, causes anxiety. What about external validation? That's a cord. You know, how many likes you got? You got the newest bag? You know, is your outfit the hottest? How about social comparison? A lot of people don't talk about that. That's a cord. It's a cord. It has you thinking, am I enough? You know, why wasn't it me? You know, wow, look at her. She has it all. And on social media, this is one of the worst places. We create all types of cords using that. You got your body ideals, right? So those that are allowing this cord to deplete them, and their beautiful selves, the way that they're made and shaped, they begin to feel inadequate because of what the ideals of the society is. And as a divine feminine, this is also a core, our performative and our femininity. How society views that we should be a certain way. You know, or the feminine should be a certain way. Pretty, soft, agreeable, available.
Yeah, they don't want none of that sis.
No, but these are cores that are energetic, are journeying your energetic body. You know, it's pulling them, you know, because some cores are not tied to people, they're tied to expectations, you know. So those are things that we must absolutely recognize with these chords, right? The work is not for us to fear all of these chords and types of connections. The work is to develop the wisdom to know the difference, because discernment is the foundation of energetic sovereignty. So let's talk about the emotional body and why some connections refuse to let go, right? And I don't also, I'm not saying that this is also a negative thing, right? Your emotional body encompasses both. Remember, this is a dualistic reality, right? So there's a reason some connections seem to disappear, effortlessly from our lives, right? You ever notice that? While others remain with us for years, lifetimes even. Sometimes long after that relationship, whatever we related to, ended. Long after any conversations have stopped, long after a person, if it's a person, even walked away. And to understand why this happens, we must look beyond the energetic body and into another layer of our energetic anatomy. Goddess Southern was saying, our emotional body. The emotional body is the aspect of our energetic field through which we experience things such as love, joy, grief, anger, fear, even longing, compassion, and also those attachments. Okay? And every emotional experience leaves an energetic expression. Think about the moments in your life that still carry emotional charge. A relationship that changed you, either good or bad, but it changed you, right? A betrayal you've never fully processed, or a loss that you never fully grieved from, or even a wound that you never fully acknowledged. It might be as small as a physical event that's over, you know. That emotional input can remain active, and that emotional change, that emotional charge remains active. It can continue feeding our energetic cords, right? This is why many people become frustrated when they attempt energetic clearing work. This affects the work that you do. They removed the symptom but didn't address the source. because the cord itself is often not the issue. The emotional attachment sustaining the cord is the issue. A person may no longer be in your life, yet you continue replaying conversations, right? It's kind of what I talked about in our last episode when I talked about your nervous system with your chakra system, right? And when you're healing, and you keep replaying it, when I talked about your root chakra, you keep replaying it, you're re-triggering your nervous system. So it's trauma on repeat, you know. But anyway, you keep replaying conversations, revisiting memories, imagining different outcomes. You know, I know we've all done that. Oh, if I just would have did this, or maybe if this person was over there and this person was over there, then, and I was in the middle, then it would have went like this. When honestly, it went the way it was supposed to go. Okay? But however, we revisit these memories and imagine different outcomes, and we also rehearse arguments, or wondering what could have been. And every time attention returns to an unresolved emotion wound, energy goes right there. Like, hey, you called me? I thought you said my name. Okay. Strengthening the connection you are trying to
Motion
release.
detected at your front door.
Sorry about that. Motion is at my front door. But it's strengthening that, because you brought the energy right there. Energy is meant for one thing, to give it going. I mean, just look up definition, just understand the whole what energy is. You know, this is why healing cannot be reduced simply to removing people out of your life. No, that's just a temporary band-aid. You just removed it physically from your eyes. But remember, I just told you, we're more than just the physical. Right? Healing requires emotional honesty. It requires self-reflection. It requires the willingness to acknowledge what still hurts. And many cords survive because of unresolved grief, you know, unprocessed trauma, or lingering restatements, resentments. Did I say restatements? Oh my goodness. Lingering resentment, guilt, regrets, abandonment wounds, you know, fear of rejection, fear of being alone, fear in its own self. These emotional experiences create energetic anchors, and those anchors can keep us tied to situations longer than they have completed their purpose. And from a divine feminine perspective, of course, this becomes especially important because the feminine principle is deeply connected to your emotional intelligence. It's connected to your emotional awareness and your emotional memory, including your emotional depth. The gift of the divine feminine is the ability to feel deeply. Or we can feel deeply, yes. But when emotional wounds remain unhealed, that same depth can become a place where old attachments continue to live. They reside there, rent free. Okay. This does not mean we stop feeling. Mm-mm. This means we learn to process what we feel. We learn to honor it, to learn from it, to move through it, rather than allowing it to quietly govern our lives from beneath the surface. One of the greatest acts of energetic sovereignty is emotional responsibility, right? You say, Indigo, what is emotional responsibility? Well, I'm going to tell you. Emotional responsibility is not suppressing your emotions. It's not avoiding your emotions either. It's not becoming controlled by your emotions. However, what it is learning to sit with them long enough to understand what they are trying to teach us. Because every unresolved emotion carries a message. Every single one. And every wound carries information.
Motion detected.
Also, every attachment carries a lesson. And once the lesson has been integrated, the emotional charge often becomes resolved. And when the emotional charge emotional charge dissolves, the cord frequently weakens on its own. Or even you can then, with your mindset, break that cord or cut it. So some connections remain not just because they are meant to last forever, but because something within us is still asking to be understood. The emotional body holds the memories, wounds, and lessons that shape our energetic attachments. And when healing occurs, what once felt like a chain can become wisdom. What once felt like a burden can become understanding or understanding. And once was held us captive, little tongue twister there, can finally be released. Right? And then we move on to our energetic sovereignty, reclaiming our power. Right? There comes a point in every spiritual journey when knowledge alone is no longer enough. You can learn about energy. You can learn about the energetic body. You can identify the cords. And you can recognize attachments. You can even understand emotional patterns that sustain them. But eventually, a deeper question emerges. What do I do with this knowledge? What do I move from awareness? How do I move from awareness to embodiment? Because that's a big one. How do I move from understanding my energy to actually governing my energy? You know? This is where we enter the realm of the energetic sovereignty. The energetic sovereignty is the conscious stewardship of your energetic field. It is the ability to recognize what belongs to you and what does not. To understand what nourishes you and what depletes you. To become aware of what strengthens your soul and what continuously pulls away from you. A lot of us confuse sovereignty with isolation. Believing being sovereign means cutting everyone off, or essentially building walls, trusting no one, needing no help at all. But that is not what sovereignty is. That is often self-projection disguised as empowerment. True sovereignty is not the absence of connection. It is the presence of conscious connection. The ability to emerge from people, the ability, to engage with people, experiences, and relationships without abandoning yourself in the process. A sovereign person often understands the energy. That energy is a resource, right? It's a resource. Just as we become mindful of how we spend our money, because money is energy. Even viewing money is energy, is very powerful in itself, right? We must become mindful of how we spend our attention or how we circulate. Not even saying the word spend. Let's exchange the word spend for circulate, right? Because that's what energy is on movement, it's circulating. Usually, often when you spend something, you spend it and it don't come back, right? So we're going to do the circulation. Because attention is one of the most valuable forms of energetic currency we possess, right? Every day, something is asking for your attention. Social media, fear, obligations, comparison, old wounds, external expectations, as I explained in those last slides, unresolved relationships, and the opinions of others. And every time we continuously invest energy into something, we strengthen the influence within our mind. That's exactly why sovereignty begins with awareness. Not awareness of everyone else, but awareness of self. What am I feeling? Is what you should ask yourself. Ask yourself, what am I empowering? Or even what am I continuously returning to? Even ask yourself, what stories am I still carrying? And what beliefs am I still allowing? That's important. Allowing to define me. A lot of us seek freedom while remaining energetically loyal to the very thing that keeps us bonded. We want peace while feeding the chaos. We want healing while feeding resentment. We want clarity while feeding the confusion. And the field responds to what is constantly nourished. Energy follows or flows with the attention in itself. And attention becomes your reality. So I want you divine feminine to understand that sovereignty is especially important because the feminine principle is naturally relational, naturally connective, naturally aware of needs of others. Yet a lot of us have been conditioned to place ourselves last, to carry emotional burdens that we would never had on our own. You know, they're not ours. They're not ours. Gotta let that go. To carry emotional ties and when we prioritize everyone else's needs while neglecting our own energetic well-being, right? Not putting us first. To mistake self-sacrifice for love. But sovereignty asks a different question. It asks, what would happen if you honored yourself with the same devotion you gave to everyone else? What would happen? What would happen if your energy becomes sacred to you? What would happen? Or what would happen if your boundaries were sacred? It asks, what will happen if your healing became sacred? Or even if your growth became sacred? Because sovereignty is not control over others. It is mastery of self. It is the ability to stand within your own energetic fields and consciously choose what stays, what goes, what grows, and what no longer serves your evolution. So just a few points I want to understand in regards to sovereignty. A sovereign person, does not fear connection. No, it's not that they fear it. A sovereign person does not fear energy. They understand the energy. Right? What a sovereign person does not fear their strength. A sovereign person learns to direct their energy. A sovereign person does not seek power over others. And a sovereign person seeks responsibility for their own field, their own energetic field, right? So sovereignty in itself is not isolation by far. Sovereignty is the connection, conscious connection. It is definitely wisdom to remain open without becoming more depleted. Connected without becoming consumed, right? Compassionate without abandoning yourself. That's important, right? Present without even losing center. That's sovereignty. And once we learn to reclaim that our energy, we begin to remember sovereignty is queen or king, is key. I'm going to say key. All right. And then we also remember that something many have forgotten, and this is so important, divine feminine, that us as divine feminine in itself was never meant to carry the weight of the world. It's not what we were. That's not our function. We were meant to embody our power within the world. So the divine feminine unbound in itself. I just want to quickly talk about that and then we'll move on. there comes a moment in every woman's journey, in every goddess journey, when she realizes that healing is not simply about letting go. It's about coming home and coming home to herself, coming home to her own intuition, and coming home to her own truth, coming home to parts of herself that became buried beneath expectations, obligations, wounds, and also energetic attachments. And throughout this journey, we have explored the energetic body, right? We've examined how cords are formed. We even learned the difference between sacred bonds and draining. We have explored the emotional body and the role it plays in sustaining energetic attachments. And we have discussed the importance of energetic sovereignty. But the question I want to drive home is, what happens as a divine feminine when we actually reclaim our energy? Because energy has been flowing outward for so long that we no longer remember us as divine feminines. A lot of us do not remember what it feels like to stand fully within ourselves, giving, nurturing, supporting, caring, holding space, even meeting expectations, fulfilling roles, and answering demands. Right? Over time, I know that we create a subtle form of energetic fragmentation when we don't handle that energy correctly. A feeling that pieces of you exist everywhere, right? I know we've all had that feeling. But our divine feminine journey is not about becoming someone new. That's not what I'm telling you. It is about remembering who you are or who you were before those fragments started to shatter. When the energy begins returning to its rightful center, something remarkable begins to happen. You know what happens, divine feminine? Let me tell you. Your intuition becomes clearer. Creativity begins to flow. Discernment begins to sharpen. Your confidence strengthens. Your inner peace becomes more accessible. Your voice of the soul becomes easier to hear. So, your intuition is not something that needs to be developed. Often, intuition is, it's not often, it's always present. It's already present. As a lot of you may know, but we want to strengthen those areas, right? It has simply been drawn out by the noise, your intuition. It's still there. By different obligations, fear, even emotional clutter, attachments. However, the divine feminine, we thrive when we is connected to our inner knowing. And it's not because we have all the answers. It's because we trust ourselves enough to even listen. This is why energetic sovereignty is not merely a spiritual practice. It is an act of self-remembrance, a declaration that our energy matters. You know, it is an act of self-remembrance, a declaration that your energy and all around you for your energetic body, it matters. Your peace matters. Your healing matters. Boundaries, they matter. Your voice, it matters, goddess. It matters. And perhaps even more importantly, your life, your existence, it belongs to you, not to society expectations, not to other people's projections, not to old wounds, not to old identities that no longer resonate with you, not to energetic patterns that no longer support your growth. A liberated divine feminine understands that connection and sovereignty can coexist. She does not have a choice. She does not have to, she has a choice. She does not have to choose between love and boundaries. No, they exist at the same time. Divine feminine does not have to choose between compassion and self-respect, or even service and self-preservation. Divine feminine understands that healthy connections never require self-abandonment, because true feminine power is found in how much you understand how your energy flows and not how much you sacrifice. You see. So let's fully embody ourselves, right? So I just want to leave you all with this in regards to my presentation. Then we'll go over to the book. So I want y'all to continue to study on, right? But as a divine feminine, we remember to reclaim, restore, and rise. And when our energy is reclaimed, we take back our intuition, creativity, our voice, and our power. And in doing this, we become not only connected, but yet sovereign. So I have some references here that I want you all to check out, right? Because we want to always expand our understanding. So the first book is Women Who Run with the Wolves by Clarissa Estes. I want to say her name. Because this book is all about reclaiming feminine power. It's about your intuition and inner knowing, healing through self-remembrance, and returning to your authentic self. Also breaking free from imposed expectations, right? So this is a powerful exploration of our intentional feminine spirit, right? Instinctual feminine experience, and the journey back to one's authentic nature. The second book I want to bring forth in regards to attachments and things of that sort, like codependency, is the Language of Letting Go by author Melody Beattie. So this book is talking more about releasing unhealthy attachments, you see, emotional healing, boundaries, codependency awareness, self-reclamation, right? It's a practical wisdom for learning when to release and when to heal and how to reclaim that emotional independence. And the last book I want to share with you all is Energy Strands by Denise Lynn. In this book, she beautifully talks about energetic cords and attachments, energy exchanges between people, spiritual boundaries, releasing stagnant, connections, and personal empowerment. It's a phenomenal book to check out in regards to energy, right? So let's go over just a few journal activations and affirmations, and I will leave you all to digest what you have taken in. Okay. So with my journal activation, you should already have your pens and paper out. So go ahead and click that pen head to write down the activation here on the screen. So the first one is, what am I still feeding with my energy that I have already outgrown? Right? You may want to consider relationships, expectations, beliefs, obligations, past versions of yourself, you know. The next journal activation is, who am I becoming as I reclaim my energy and direct it to my higher self? Right? It's a great question to ask. And when you do this, reflect upon your intuition, your creativity, your boundaries, your purpose, your peace, right? And then ask yourself, who am I becoming as I learn to honor my energy with intention? You know? All right, let's look into these affirmations, because affirmations are also important because they're also a way to program your subconscious. And it's not really so much, it is the words. The words are bringing the vibration, but repeating the affirmation and repetition that equally, so you're hitting your vibration, right? That's a point, an energy point. And then your second energy point with that is repetition. So now you're connecting with your subconscious, right? So the first affirmation, I'm over here stuttering, is I honor my energy as a sacred resource. Right? Or as I wrote on the screen, I honor my energy. Those are my notes. I honor my energy and release what no longer aligns. So it may be a little bit more closer to home for you all, right? And second affirmation I have in here, my intuition is clear. My boundaries are strong. My energy belongs to me. And through awareness, healing, and discernment, I reclaim the power that has always been mine. Okay, Ashe with that. All right. Now we're going to shift over here. Get the goddesses back on the screen as we get ready to close out this session. Goddesses, are y'all there? Holla if you hear me. Hey.
Yeah.
All right. So over this journey, you all, we've had of our energy series, right? We have explored the energetic archetype, right? We have explored your aura, energetic vampirism, you know. And through this series, we started with our chakra system,
Yeah.
learning about the energy centers that influence our thoughts, our emotions, and behavior. Right? That's what we're working on.
Yeah, yes. Yeah,
Making sure y'all with me. Y'all with me. I'm just like,
well, we just sister. We just listening. We just listening.
okay, all right, all right, got you, got you. All right. So with our we explored how energy moves through our body,
Yes.
how imbalances manifest, and how awareness becomes the first step towards transformation.
Sure.
From there, we moved into the deeper layers of the energetic field, examining the energetic body, right? And getting back to oneself. Oh no, I'm sorry, the chakras. I'm talking about the chakras. I'm so
But it
focused on
is
my.
back to yourself, though, sis. You got your
That
chakras.
is, that is so true. That is so true. We went through our humanity. We went through the gateway.
Mhm.
We went through your God self. And now we taught you all about energy in itself, right? And the ways that it comes around. So, with all of that said, as a divine feminine, us examining the tools and techniques, the technologies that are used through history to focus our intention and direct consciousness and create transformation, right? We thank you for walking through this journey with us. What we do want to express on our next episode series, we're going to move beyond energy and begin to explore how to intentionally work with with it, with our energy through ritual magic, through visualization, through psychic development, and excuse me, sacred practice. And speaking of, because I had a thought I wanted to connect, and I started stuttering. Speaking of, I do want to let you all know, Mystics, for this episode, there will be a companion video. And with that companion video, we're going to do and show you how to do a cord cutting ritual, right? We're going to explain the ritual and then walk you through during the cord cutting ritual um, to complete that cutting of the cord. Now, what we're cutting is cords that no longer serve us, right? Because we're keeping those cords that feed us, that serve us. Okay. So we're going to be doing that. So I just wanted to bring that point to you all. But until then, remain aware, right? Remain discerning, remain rooted in your own knowing. And above all, remember your energy is your responsibility on your own. That's your responsibility. Your power is your birthright, right? And your sovereignty begins the moment you choose to reclaim it. I'm not freezing up yet. It choose to reclaim it. Okay. So, goddesses, you all have a word you might want to say, or are we good?
I was gonna say, listen to your body. Listen to your body. Don't ignore it. Where is it at? Where are you feeling this, you know, heavy cord that needs to be cut that no longer serves? Listen to your body, and yeah, we got a plethora of information here. So thank you for joining us, guys. Thank you.
Yes. And understanding that energy vampirism is real. So, like Southern Goddess said, pay attention to the energy shifts when you are amongst beings, and know not all the time it's you. You are amongst vampires, and you have to know that they will drain you.
Well, we thank you all for joining us for this amazing episode. We hope that the knowledge and wisdom that was brought to you today, that you're able to internalize it and then make that transformation into your life. All right, to transcend these past traumas, right? And step into your full sovereignty as a divine feminine, or just as anyone, period. Okay, divine masculine, however you see yourself. The point is, heal yourself. Okay? All right. Peace.
Peace. Until.
Goddess after dark, goddess after dark.